Hi, I'm Dixie, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how I animated my latest lo-fi scene. A sleepy cat resting in a candlelit library. I'll show you how I created simple looped animation using After Effects, like breathing, tail flicks, ear twitches, flickering candlelight, and floating dust particles. Everything in this video is beginner friendly, so even if you're new to animation you can follow along step by step. After finishing my illustration, I exported each part of the artwork as separate PNG files. One for each layer I plan to animate, like the cat's chest, the ear, tail, candle, flames, and background. Then I imported those PNG files into After Effects and added them into a new composition manually, placing them in the right order on the timeline. I arranged the layers so everything sits where it should in the scene and used the pan behind tool to adjust each anchor point, so things like the tail and ear rotate from the right spot when animating. I know some people use the Illustrator import method with retained layer sizes, but I find that exporting PNGs gives me more control and makes things easier to organize visually, so this is just the way I like to work. Let's start with the cat's breathing. I created a separate layer just for the chest. I pressed S on the keyboard to open the scale property. At the 2-second mark, I increased the Y scale to 102%, and at the 4-second mark, I set it back to 100%. This gives a soft inhale and exhale effect. I used Easy Ease to smooth the keyframes. You can do that by right-clicking and choosing Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, or just press F9. Then I held Alt and clicked the stopwatch next to the scale to open the expression box and typed out Loop Out Cycle. This makes the animation loop forever without needing extra keyframes. Next is the tail flick. I selected the tail layer and pressed R to open rotation. At 0 seconds, I set a keyframe at 0 degrees. At 15 seconds, I rotated it to +5 degrees, then back to 0 degrees at 30 seconds, and +5 degrees again at 45 seconds. I added Easy Ease to smooth it and again added the expression loop out cycle to keep it looping naturally. For the cat's ear flick, I added a small animation using just the rotation property. I started at 0 seconds with 0 degrees, then flicked it back and forth with a few quick keyframes, like -5, +7, -2, and back to 0 over a short period of about half a second. I used Easy Ease, then copied and pasted the same ear flick animation at different times throughout the 1-hour timeline to make it feel random and realistic. For the candle flame, I used 2 separate flame layers and animated them using opacity keyframes. Flame 3 starts at 100% opacity at frame 1, then fades to 0% by frame 8, and loops out using loop out cycle. Flame 2 does the same thing, but it starts a little later, at 100% opacity at frame 10, and fades out by frame 16. I actually had a third glowing layer, but I decided to remove it. The animation looked cleaner and more natural without it. I also added soft floating particles around the cat. I created a shape layer with small circles, then added a wiggle expression to the position property by typing wiggle 0, 1, 10. This makes the particles gently drift around. You can also add a wiggle to opacity for subtle flickering effects. Wiggle 0, 5, 10. This gives the scene a magical dusty glow, like light shining through the old library window. That's it. All of these animated parts use just a few layers and simple techniques. You don't need advanced skills to bring your own cozy lo-fi scene to life. Just patience, a bit of layering, and some gentle loops. If you want to try animating your own version of this scene, I've shared all my keyframe, timing, expressions, and mid-journey prompts on my Ko-Fi page. You'll find full breakdowns for breathing, tail flicks, ear movements, and more, all organized by tier and easy to follow even if you're just starting out. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to share more cozy tutorials soon.